Hello, and welcome to Foundations for Algebra, Unit 3A, Lesson 6. Today, scholars will be able to determine if a triangle is a right triangle by checking the lengths. So we're going to look at the lengths of the sides to determine if a triangle is a right triangle. So, what does side length have to do with the type of triangle? First of all, we need to talk about the different ways to classify triangles. There are two ways to classify triangles. You can classify them by the side lengths, and they are equilateral, which means all three are the same. Or they could be isosceles, which means two sides are the same length. Or they can be scalene, which means each side is different. You can also classify them by the angles. An acute triangle has no angle greater than, I would say 90, but it's actually 89. Well, no angle greater than 90, but it can't even be 90. So it's or equal to. All the angles are less than 90. A right triangle has one 90-degree angle. It can only have one because triangles have three sides, and their angles always add up to 180. Or finally, you have obtuse. Obtuse have one angle greater than 90. Greater than 90 degrees. Okay, so those are the three different ways to classify them by the angles and three ways to classify by the sides. So we're going to talk about right triangles, in which case we are talking about triangles that have at least one right angle. So it must have a 90-degree angle. In this case, you can see the angle right here is a 90-degree angle. It can be isosceles, having two sides the same, or it can be scalene with three different sides. Finally, the sides must have a specific relationship. Okay? The sides of a right triangle always have this specific relationship. The longest side of the hypotenuse, which by the way is the side directly across from your right angle, must be equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. So in this case, side A squared plus side B squared must equal side C squared. That is how we know it is a right triangle. We can't tell by looking, by the way. So let's talk about these. Can we tell if these are right triangles? So the first thing I need to do is figure out which side is my hypotenuse. So I find my right angle. Let's try so that you can see. I find my right angle, and across from it is my hypotenuse. It is also always the longest side. So you see these sides are 3, 4, and 5. 5 is the longest side, so that's my hypotenuse. A and B, it doesn't really matter which is which. So in this case, I have 3 and 4. So I have 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. If this is true, it's a right triangle. So 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16. 5 squared is 25. 9 and 16 is 25. So this is a right triangle. Let's look at this other one. Again, my longest side here must be C. So I have to do 6 squared plus 10 squared. So I have 6 squared plus 10 squared equals 12 squared. Well, 6 squared is 36. 10 squared is 100. 12 squared is 144. So this is, I get 136 equals 144. That is not true. So this one is not a right triangle, even though it looks like one. Because, by the way, it does not matter what it looks like when I draw it. It matters if the sides are correct. So that one is not a right triangle. Let's try 2. So here I have 2 and 2 and 4. Let's see if that is a right triangle. I have 2 squared plus 2 squared equals 4 squared. Now this looks like it should be right. Well, let's see. 2 squared is 4, and 2 squared is 4, and 4 squared is 16. Well, 8 does not equal 16, so this one is not a right triangle. So it's not a right triangle. And let's look at this last one. I have 6, 8, and 10. Remember, our longest side is always C, or I can see that my right angle looks like it'd be here. So, in this case, I have 6 squared plus 8 squared equals 10 squared. 6 squared is 36. 8 squared is 64. 10 squared is 100. 36 plus 64 is 100. 100 equals 100. So this one is a right triangle. It's that simple. That one is a right triangle. Okay, go ahead and work on your classwork, and I will see you in class.